I want to begin with an issue that popped up this morning. Admiral Kirby is a patriot. He's a veteran. I respect him. But boy, did he make a mistake yesterday. He sent out an email to his staff and he hit reply all and it went to Fox News. In it, he was very disrespectful to the Afghan vets who are critical of the Afghanistan withdrawal. He said, quote, obviously no use in responding. He called it a handful of vets, indeed all of one stripe. All of one stripe. Senator Scott, should John Kirby resign?
Absolutely. But I don't know how you would do the job he has, where you have to, in my opinion, it's constantly misrepresenting the facts. Afghanistan was an absolute disaster. Day before yesterday, we did the Congressional Gold Medals to the for the service members that lost their lives that day, 3 years ago, where they had the bombing at the Kabul airport. And how can you actually act like that was a success? And Harris brags that she was the last person in the room when Biden made the fateful decision to leave, knowing that nobody agreed with it. So I just think this country's got to wake up and say that we've got to get better leadership. Harris can't lead this country. She'll be a disaster.
Senator, I began my show this morning with a monologue I posted over at my YouTube channel that is titled, Upon Further Review, the Officials in the Booth Have Reversed the Call on the Field on the Debate. I was among those who thought Kamala Harris won, but I've been watching for a day. Everybody knows ABC was in the tank. The focus is on Springfield, Ohio. The focus is on the economy. I think Trump's numbers are going to go up by a week from now. What do you think?
I agree, but here's my thought. I did some press for the Trump team before the debate, and I thought Trump's defined, right? If you don't know about Trump, you have to be living under a rock, right? Harris is the one who has a lot to explain. He was the border czar. We know the border's open. She was the one that did the tie-breaking vote for the massive spending bills. We've now have inflation. She was next to the Biden when he made the fateful decision to leave Afghanistan, and she thought it was a success. That she didn't explain those. This was her opportunity to explain it, and she didn't. So if you look at the polls, it sure looks like Trump is doing better than he was in 16 and 20, right? And he clearly won in 16 and was clearly close in 20. So I think he's heading in the right direction, and she's not.
The other thing that happened in that debate, I'm from Ohio, and I did not know anything until the debate about Springfield, Ohio. Yesterday, and the fact that it's a fact, between 15 and 20,000 Haitian migrants have been dropped there in the last 3.5 years. The city's only 58,000 people strong. The Attorney General of Ohio yesterday posted, his name is David Yost. He's a friend of mine. I've worked with him. He's a good guy. There's a recorded police call, he tweeted, from a witness who saw immigrants capturing geese for food in Springfield. Citizens testified to the city council. These people would be competent witnesses in court. Why does the media find a carefully worded City Hall press release better evidence? I didn't know anything about Springfield, and they talked about, people are going to remember they're eating the dogs. I don't care if they're eating the dogs. I care about the fact they put 20,000 Haitians in a city of 58,000 people. It's insane.
It's insane. First off, we have a great Haitian community in Florida.
Of course you do, yeah.
But to bring 20,000 immigrants, it doesn't matter where they're from, 20,000 people into a town of 58,000 people, that's going to cause issues. That's not the way immigration ought to be done in this country. We should have a reasonable amount of immigration. It should be legal immigration. People should be vetted. We don't want drugs, criminals, terrorists coming across into our country. And so I think what Trump did was he highlighted the problem. We have been invaded by people. Some of them are wonderful people, but 20,000 people in a town of 58,000 people, that's an invasion.
Now, Senator Scott, I thought Donald Trump got angry, and as I explained to Larry Kudlow yesterday, he was right to be angry. He was being ambushed. And I wrote for Fox News this morning, that was the worst presidential debate in the history of presidential debates. I've done 5 presidential primary debates with networks. These things are scripted and rehearsed. That was awful. Muir and Davis. What did you think of their performance?
Well, even the co-chair of the presidential debate commission said the same thing. It was a disaster. I mean, what I don't understand about journalists is, and this actually happened to me in Philadelphia. A guy came up to me, a journalist from somewhere, and he started asking the question and giving me the answer. And I finally said to him, "Why don't you just talk to yourself? Because
Ha!
you already know you know the answer." Well, these guys they fact check Trump, but not fact check Harris. I mean, that's not the way this is supposed to work.
Senator, the most glaring omission, I put this in the column, I'll ask you. There was not one question about China. China is our enemy. There was a genocide of the Uyghurs. They are threatening Taiwan. They have repressed Hong Kong. Jimmy Lai is in jail. They had a spy in the governor's office in New York. God knows what she did. Uh, do you think Disney told them because of their theme parks and their merchandise they can't bring up China?
Makes sense, right? Hell, and let's remember, 76,000 people died last year of fentanyl overdose. Precursors come from China. On top of the fact that never complied with the rules of the World Trade Organization, they didn't comply with any trade deals. They didn't comply with the Trump trade deal. I mean, they lied, cheat, and steal. They want to destroy our way of life. They sent a spy balloon across the country. They got a spy station in Cuba. I mean, we could go on, and not one question about the person, the country, the government of the country that wants to destroy your way of life. They want to destroy your opportunity to live the American dream. They want to destroy us, and nothing. And Biden administration has been the biggest appeaser, and they've appeased Iran, they've appeased China, Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela. In Venezuela, they're allowing them to sell oil after they stole the election. You get sick and tired of this stuff when you look at what this administration has done. Biden and Harris don't care about us. They want to be friends with the whole socialist world, totalitarian world out there. It makes you mad.
Uh, 10 days before this debate, an American citizen, Hirsch Goldberg Pollen, who's also an Israeli citizen, was executed by an Iranian proxy. Not only was Hirsch not brought up, or the other five hostages, or the Americans killed on 10/7, Iran wasn't brought up.
No.
What do you think about that? I've done these. They're scripted. What do you think they were thinking?
Well, they're thinking, how do we help Harris, and how do we hurt Trump? That was the whole agenda that night. But I mean, think about it. Biden and Harris, they will never talk about the hostages, and what maybe Hirsch would be alive today if Biden and Harris hadn't held back the weapons to Israel. I mean, these are American citizens being held hostage, and we're giving money that goes directly to Hamas. Who in their right mind is doing this? Building a pier so they can get more stuff to the Gazans, so the money can go to Hamas, so they can build more tunnels, buy more weapons, kill more Americans. This is stupidity, stupidity. What's going on with this administration?
All right, my last question for you, Senator, has to do with your race. I think you're going to win pretty easily, but they're pouring a lot of money to try and beat you. What are the dynamics down there? It's a very red state because it's full of people who like freedom. You got a great governor. You got a good colleague in Marco Rubio. You are a leader in the Senate. What are they trying to do to you? Because I see appeals on my timeline from your opponent for money. Of course, that's just because they're everywhere. There must be a lot of dark money. What's going on in your race?
So what they're doing is my opponent is a complete socialist. She voted with AOC, Believe, and Omar when she had her 2 years in Congress. So she's trying to sell it like Harris. They're both trying to say, "Oh no, we're not like that at all. Don't worry about how we voted or what we said." So yeah, they're pouring money in. They're running ads. They're lying about their record. So I'm traveling the state. I've been to every county. I'm continuing to travel. I hope to get to almost every county again. So I'm just doing what I did as governor in my Senate race. I talk to people every day, and that's how we're gonna outwork them, and we're gonna win.
Well, you're talking to them in Tampa, Sarasota, all across Florida right now, Jacksonville, Orlando, and I hope they go to rickscott.com and just find. You're a great senator, and I hope they know that. Thank you, Senator, for joining me. I appreciate
Thanks,
it
you. Have a
greatly.
great day. Bye bye.
You too.